Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. Quick video today. As many of you may well know, Classic launched with no transfer options at all. We all had to just take a shot in the dark, pick a server, and hope it worked out for the best. Shortly after that, Blizzard was forced to create many new servers to accommodate the massive player base that they had underestimated. Even then, it was apparent that these measures weren't enough, as the highest populated servers quickly became well known by the community and got more and more full. And in the early weeks of Classic, logging in at basically any point beyond early morning or at midday meant you were going to have a queue. Want to play in the evening? Well, consider loading up the game a good 5 hours in advance, and that's not even an exaggeration either. So it became apparent that people would need to be able to transfer. However, at this point, quite a bit of the damage had already been done, and Blizzard's attempt to control that was to offer faction-specific transfers off some of the most populated servers. They actually did this right as Phase 2 came out initially, and Phase 2 and World PvP meant a massive number of players leaving the Honor Grind Fiesta of faction-dominated servers, and it literally killed off entire populations on certain servers where one faction was just so dominant because the game was becoming really unplayable. Now, up to this point, Blizzard had controlled all transfer movements, but shortly after this point they released paid transfers, which was sometime after the opening of Phase 2. The only real rule surrounding it is that you cannot transfer from PvE to PvP servers. And over time, people have gradually been drawn to the larger servers. It makes sense, after all, bigger is usually better in an MMO. More active economy, more guilds, more pugs running, more pre-mades, more people leveling, and of course our servers are capable of supporting so many more players than in Vanilla 2, which is one of the key factors that's ended up making our game experience so different today compared to then, amongst many other factors. But so many people have been going to these big servers, entire guilds hopping over, people making new characters and transferring, that queues are now back, and they're really starting to get out of hand on some of the largest realms, like Whitemane or Incendius for NA, or Firemore and Gehennas for EU. Though it seems like things are far worse on the NA servers for some reason. On Wednesdays or on weekends there is a queue for me on Gehennas, but it's never been hours and hours, where I've seen loads of screenshots of massive queues for Incendius for example. In fact, as I'm putting this together, Blizzard have actually made an announcement on Twitter that they plan on working for a fix for the queues for certain servers. Now, to be honest, the fact that it's got to this point is kind of bad in itself. If a realm stays full when you're on the realm selection window, surely that should actually mean something in terms of restriction there, because at the moment it doesn't at all. The number of ways you could do this are numerous. You could have transfer windows at the start of each month until a certain number of characters are met, free transfers off the server, limit character creations, stop transfers altogether maybe. The only thing they have at the moment is that pop-up window saying there might be a way to play, and it's clearly not doing enough. There needs to be more deterrence, more active deterrence. Of course, all of these things can turn players away, so business-wise it's not ideal, but nor is limiting the accessibility of the game for a person who's been on that server from day one and them having to wait 5 hours because Blizzard have neglected to restrict overpopulation of certain servers. As for Blizzard's fix, people are getting a bit frantic about layering again. I highly doubt that that will be the answer. At least I really hope not for you guys. Gold farmers would flock to a layered server so fast to repopulate it. In fact, I'm pretty sure layering would do the opposite of the desired effect. I think that the realm population cap will be raised because Blizzard have said they can do so, and they've done so in the past. This is an example post from very early on in Classic, the post being from August, talking about how the top end for realm populations are being raised. Another post here speaks about the server cap limits. This one was also very early on in Classic, when Blizzard were continually making massive amounts of new servers to try and accommodate the huge demand for the game. So I think they're going to go back on their word and raise the caps again. Now, the issue with this is what they were saying about forestalling the problem is as true now as it was back then. Whatever they do, Blizzard need to address just how full servers that are shown as full on the realm selection page are treated, and put some restrictions behind them on people wanting to play there. Whatever the solution is for the current queues, it's going to be a band-aid. We need a cure for the root cause of the problem. We need some way for people to leave those servers without having to go through a paywall, or for some way for Blizzard to stop people creating new characters there when they already don't have any on the realm, or stopping people transferring there. Ideally though, we'd have both of these things. Also, many people may have moved there with guilds or friends and not quite realised how bad it is at the moment, and now you are stuck there for 3 months until you can transfer off. There will be people who essentially can't play the game anymore for 3 months because they transferred to Incendious and can only play at peak times. And whilst yes, there is warnings, it's just clearly not doing enough, is it? I don't think you can remove this 3-month wait either due to how much gold would be moved about if this happened, but free transfers should be considered. Limitations on players new to the server making characters there. Treat the word full for meaning full, and take active measures to stop players from committing to new characters or transfers there, rather than just verbal warnings. I think on top of raising the server cap, there should be a period of action from Blizzard to cut down the populations on these full servers for the foreseeable future. Of course, this isn't helped by our current situation in the world, what with so many more people being at home. I'm hoping Blizzard do the right thing here to keep the game playable at peak times, rather than just a queue simulator as it was at launch. You know, after those first few initial weeks, I didn't think I'd be talking about population again really, especially since how layering was removed in Phase 2, there was barely a queue to be seen. It's not a great situation, but it does show Classic is as popular as ever, I suppose, which is the only real good takeaway here. Anyways, how are the queues on your server, if there are any at all? What do you think Blizzard will end up trying to do to resolve this issue, as well as the root cause? I'm just hoping above everything else, it's not layering. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. If you like what you see, give the video a like and subscribe, as there's plenty more to come. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Take care. Bye.